Hey everyone! Welcome to BooBoo Viral News, your go-to place for all viral updates. Please hit the subscribe button and give this episode a thumbs up. Honey Boo Boo baby bump with husband David bears Dre's reaction. Anna and Dralin relocated to Colorado where Alana is studying neonatal nursing at Regis University. They currently live together and Alana has expressed her desire to focus on her education before considering starting a family. In March 2023, Dralin was arrested in Georgia for DUI, fleeing from police and other charges. Alana was a passenger in the vehicle, but was not charged despite the legal issues. Alana has continued to support Dralin, describing Bear went through a nasty split back in 2014. However, Sugar Bear continued to appear on the family's house for a period of time afterward. Despite Sugar Bear no longer being on, June revealed this week that everybody always asks about her ex-husband, though she claims they haven't spoken in years, and he hasn't had anything to do with Alana in more than a decade. Despite this, June said people continue to reach out to her with stories about Sugar Bear's social media activity and alleged dating life. She also said she's often asked why Alana no longer has a relationship with her dad. E's Facebook post was written in her punctuation challenged June speak fashion. So Ashley has done her best to edit it so that it is readable. June went on to claim that Sugar Bear wasn't raised to treat his child the way he's treated Alana, revealing that his parents were always amazing towards her and her daughters. She also alleged that Sugar Bear's hookups have relayed to her and her family that Sugar Bear goes around claiming that he wants to see Alana, but that June is preventing it from happening. According to June, she ran into Sugar Bear for the first time in years back in July when both were attending a custody hearing for June's eldest granddaughter. Exclusively reported last year. June's former son-in-law against June as a witness in his custody battle for Caitlyn as Sugar Bear was the former stepdad of Caitlyn's late mother. June claimed this week that Sugar Bear's comments in the courtroom ultimately did nothing because he couldn't say anything bad about me. She also claimed that Sugar Bear hopes to be back on the show, though she insists that will never. While June claimed in her post that Sugar Bear had nothing negative to say about her last year, comments on the post argued otherwise, citing June's history of drug addiction and the fact that amid June's struggles, Alana began living with her older sister, Lauren Pumpkin Shannon, who was eventually awarded full custody of then 17-year-old Alana. June was also called out for allegedly stealing money from Alana. Don't know how he wouldn't have been able to come up with bad things to say about you. You literally abandoned Atlanta over drugs and men. One person wrote, Stolina's money. You have not been kids were raised in constant conflict and you took advantage of your child's money and bought drugs. Another commented, have you ever held a job? As the Ashley previously told you during a 2022 episode of the Dumb Blonde podcast, Alana and Pumpkin spoke out about the abuse Pumpkin claimed to have suffered at the hands of Sugar Bear and the fact that the alleged abuse was overlooked by those working on the production of the family shows. Years earlier, June had admitted on social media and in a series of interviews that Sugar Bear had been abusive towards Pumpkin, even mentioning a specific instance of abuse that had been played off as a freak accident. On an episode of Here Comes Honey Boo years earlier, during an interview in 2019, Alana stated that her dad only contacted her when it was so he could appear on the family's reality. The only time ever see him is if we're filming with him, which is very rarely. Alana said of her dad, tell myself all the time, I'm not going. Go put effort into something where there's no effort being put in by the other person or the other person doesn't even care. So, I'm not going to care about something that the other person don't care about. Alana Thompson, better known to the world as Honey Boo, has accused her mother of stealing money and selling the family's home at the height of her drug addiction. Speaking to people ahead of the release of Was Honey Boo Boo, her new Lifetime biopic, Thompson detailed more of the drama between her and her mother, Mama June Shannon. After rising to fame on the fifth Toddler's Tiaras, Thompson continued to be followed by cameras throughout most of her adolescence and teen years. A few spin-offs followed the family as they endured highs and lows, including the 2023 death of Thompson's sister, Anna Chickadee Cardwell, aged 29. Around 2019, when cameras were rolling on the spin-off Mama June from Not to Hot, which has since been retitled Mama June Family Crisis, Thompson noticed something was off about her mom. She started locking her doors, which really made me think, oh, what is she doing? Shannon was deep in addiction to crack cocaine, leading to her March 2019 arrest and felony drug possession charge. Thompson said her peers took note of what was happening at that time. She claimed Shannon sold the family's home and other belongings during the same time period. Thompson also claimed Shannon stole off the teens. Dancing with the Stars earnings that same year. The funds were recently returned to Thompson, but without an apology. There was no "I'm sorry," Thompson said. She also claimed she's never seen a dime from her time on Here Comes Honey Boo, which ran from 2011 on. The Independent has reached out to representatives of Shannon for comment. When asked by People about the money, Shannon said she couldn't discuss it. "That's part of this season," she added, referring to the 7th season of Mama June. "There are just times when my dad, he would just get super angry and he let his anger issues just get the best of him." The 19-year-old told Us Weekly of her dad, Mike Sugar. "So, you never really knew when he was angry what would happen." Rana Shack. Air. "And it made everyone in the house walk on eggshells." And that right there is why, whenever a new headline pops up about Alana Honey Boo Boo Thompson, fans don't just gossip. They debate. They argue. They take sides. Because for a lot of people, this isn't just reality TV drama. This is a family that has been living their mess in public for years, and the internet thinks it knows them personally. So let's get into what's blowing up right now. The baby bump rumors, the reaction from Dralin, what Alana has actually said about her future, and why Mama June is back in the spotlight again with more claims about Sugar Bear. But before we go any further, hit subscribe and leave a thumbs up if you want real updates with the full context, not just clickbait. Now the baby bump chatter started the way it always does these days. A photo, a comment section, and a rumor that grows legs in a few hours. People saw what they thought looked like a bump and immediately ran with it. Some were excited, posting congratulations like it was confirmed. Others were skeptical, saying it could be an angle, a pose, a bad screenshot, or just the internet doing what the internet does. But what made this rumor feel louder than usual was that fans started dragging Dralin into it, watching his expression, his body language, and every little detail like they were breaking down a crime documentary. Dralin's reaction became the hook. And suddenly the story wasn't just about Alana. It was about what her relationship Rana Shack looks like behind the scenes. Here's what we do know from the details you shared. Alana and Dralin relocated to Colorado, and Alana is studying neonatal nursing at Regis University. That part matters because it's just a random fun fact. It's the one thing Alana has been consistent about in recent years. Education. Stability. A future that doesn't rely on reality TV drama. And according to what you provided, she has expressed that she wants to focus on school before even thinking about starting a family. So when baby bump rumors hit the timeline, a lot of people pointed out that it doesn't fit the plan she's publicly talked about. That doesn't mean rumors can't be true, but it does mean people should stop acting like speculation equals confirmation. Now let's talk about Dralin, because that's where the comments get intense. You mentioned that in March 2023, Dralin was arrested in Georgia for DUI, fleeing from police, and other charges, and that Alana was a passenger but wasn't charged. That situation was a turning point for many viewers. Some people felt it was a wake-up call, and they expected Alana to distance herself. Instead, what you included says she continued to support him. And that alone is enough to split the audience in half. One side says, that's loyalty. She loves him. People make mistakes. The other side says, this is dangerous. She's got too much to lose. She needs to protect her future. And when you mix that history with baby bump rumors, people instantly jump to panic mode because they start imagining worst-case scenarios. Again, that's why this rumor spread so fast. It tapped into an existing storyline that fans already had strong opinions about. Now zooming out from the pregnancy chatter, the bigger storyline in your news is actually the family dynamics, especially the ongoing mess between Mama June and Sugar Bear. You said Sugar Bear and June had a nasty split back in 2014, and that he continued to appear on the family shows for a period after. That history matters because it explains why he's still a topic even when he's not actively involved. And here's where it gets even messier. You also said that June recently claimed people always ask her about her ex-husband, but she insists they haven't spoken in years, and that he hasn't had anything to do with Alana in more than a decade. That's a strong claim. And it's the kind of claim that immediately triggers debate because viewers remember episodes, timelines, and scenes differently. June also allegedly said people reach out to her with stories about Sugar Bear's social media activity and his dating life, and that she's often asked why Alana doesn't have a relationship with her dad. That question is like a grenade in this fanbase because everyone has an opinion about who failed who, and when. And then, according to what you provided, June went a step further and claimed that Sugar Bear wasn't raised to treat his child the way he's treated Alana, and that his parents were always amazing to her and her daughters. If true, that's June basically saying, his upbringing wasn't the issue. His choices were. But then she also allegedly claimed that people Sugar Bear has been with have told June and the family that Sugar Bear goes around saying he wants to see Alana, but June is blocking it. That's another huge claim, and it's also the type of thing that gets messy fast because it becomes one person's word versus another person's word, and fans turn it into a courtroom online. You also mentioned that June claimed she ran into Sugar Bear for the first time in years back in July, and it was tied to a custody hearing involving June's eldest granddaughter. There's a lot going on there, and even hearing that makes people realize this family has layers of legal and personal issues that go way beyond what gets shown in a clean TV edit. June allegedly said Sugar Bear's comments in the courtroom did nothing because he couldn't say anything bad about her, and then she claimed he hopes to be back on the show, but she insists that will never happen. That part reads like a warning shot. It suggests June believes he still wants a piece of the spotlight, and she's trying to shut the door publicly before it even opens. But the internet did not let that slide. Because, as you included, people in the comments argued otherwise and brought up June's history of drug addiction and the impact it had on the family. They mentioned that amid June's struggles, Alana began living with her older sister, Pumpkin, and Pumpkin was awarded full custody when Alana was 17. People also accused June of stealing money from Alana. These are serious accusations, and since we're doing this as a YouTube news script, we have to frame it correctly. These are allegations and claims that have been discussed publicly, but viewers should not treat internet comments as proven facts. Still, the reason it matters is because it shows why June's posts don't land the way she wants them to. Even if she's telling her version honestly, a lot of viewers don't trust her because they feel they watched her fail her kids on camera. And that distrust shapes every new headline. Now another heavy point you included is the past claims about abuse involving Sugar Bear and Pumpkin, and that Pumpkin said the alleged abuse was overlooked by production. That's a big deal, because it turns the conversation into something bigger than one family's private fights. It becomes about what reality TV chooses to show, what it hides, and who gets protected when there's money involved. You mentioned that years earlier, June had admitted on social media and in interviews that Sugar Bear had been abusive toward Pumpkin, including referencing a specific instance that was played off like a freak accident. That kind of detail, when it gets resurfaced, changes the tone of the discussion immediately. People stop joking, and they start asking how much of the funny redneck reality show image was covering something darker. You also included a quote from Alana from a 2019 interview. Rana Shack, where she said her dad only contacted her when it was connected to filming, and she said she wasn't going to put effort into something when the other person wasn't putting in effort. That's one of the most telling parts of the whole story because it shows Alana isn't just caught in the middle. She made a decision emotionally a long time ago to stop chasing a parent who isn't showing up consistently. Whether fans agree or not, that's a very real, very human reaction. And it also explains why, when June claims Sugar Bear wants to see Alana but June is preventing it, some viewers don't buy it. They believe Alana already made her choice based on her own experience. Now, you also included a major part about Alana speaking to people ahead of the release of a Lifetime biopic, where she accused her mother of stealing money and selling the family home during the height of her addiction. That's huge, because it's not a random tabloid claim. It's Alana speaking publicly about her own finances and her own life. She also talked about noticing her mom locking doors, and how that made her think something was off. You mentioned June's March 2019 arrest and felony drug possession charge, and that Alana said her peers noticed what was happening. That's the part fans sometimes forget. This wasn't only a family crisis. It was something she had to live through while being a teenager with classmates watching her trauma as entertainment. You also included that Alana claimed June sold belongings during that time, and that Alana claimed money. Rana Shack, from her Dancing with the Stars earnings was taken, and that the funds were eventually returned but without an apology. Again, these are serious family claims, and the reason they keep resurfacing is because money is the one thing that turns reality fame into long-term bitterness. When you feel like your childhood was monetized, and you didn't see the benefits, it doesn't just go away. It sits there. And every new rumor, like a baby bump rumor, becomes another trigger for the public to rehash the entire family history. So let's bring it back to the headline everyone clicked for. Honey Boo Boo, baby bump rumors, and Dralin's reaction. Here's the most responsible way to cover it. Right now, what you have is public speculation plus the context that Alana has said she wants to focus on her education before starting a family. Add the fact that she and Dralin are living together in Colorado while she studies neonatal nursing. And add the reality that Dralin's legal trouble in 2023 made a lot of fans nervous about her stability and safety. That combination creates the perfect storm for rumor culture. People see one photo, they attach it to the existing storyline in their head, and suddenly they think they know the ending. But life isn't edited like a reality episode. Until Alana confirms anything herself, nobody should be running around calling it news like it's official. At the same time, Dralin's reaction is still a talking point for a reason. Because whether it's pregnancy rumors or not, viewers are always watching how supportive he is, how he handles pressure, and whether he looks like someone who fits into the stable future Alana says she wants. That's why even a simple moment gets magnified. And now, with June putting Sugar Bear back into the conversation, the entire family story is being pulled into the spotlight again. And that's the real headline. This family can't escape the cycle. Something small happens, and the public drags every old wound back to the surface. In the next part, we're going to break down the timeline more clearly, what June's new claims could mean for the show, why fans keep accusing June of rewriting history, and how Alana's relationship with Pumpkin fits into all of this. We'll also talk about why the baby bump narrative is so explosive when the person involved has repeatedly said she wants to finish school first. If you're ready for right where we left off, because the timeline is everything in this story, and without it, the internet fills in the blanks with whatever fits their favorite narrative. When you look closely at Alana's recent years, there's a clear shift from reality TV kid to young adult trying to take control. Moving to Colorado wasn't random. Enrolling in neonatal nursing wasn't random either. That field is demanding, emotionally heavy, and not something you casually choose if you're not serious about your future. And that's why so many fans push back hard against the baby bump rumors. To them, it feels like the public refusing to let Alana grow up without dragging her back into the same chaos she's been trying to escape. But at the same time, being in a public relationship means every move is watched, and Dralin's presence in her life adds another layer of scrutiny. Ever since his 2023 arrest, his name alone triggers strong reactions. Some fans see him as someone who made serious mistakes but deserves the chance to grow. Others see red flags and worry that Alana keeps ending up in unstable situations because instability is what she grew up around. That's not a judgment. It's a pattern people think they recognize. And patterns are what drive reality TV audiences more than facts. Now, zooming back into Mama June's recent comments, because this is where the narrative really fractures. June framing Sugar Bear as someone who wants to see Alana but is blocked by her paints June as the gatekeeper, the protector. But critics say that version ignores years of footage, interviews, and statements from Alana herself. When Alana said she wasn't going to chase effort that wasn't there, that wasn't something June put in her mouth. That was Alana speaking for herself. And viewers who remember that clip feel like June keeps trying to recenter herself as the main character in stories that aren't hers anymore. That's one reason June's Facebook posts get picked apart line by line. You mentioned that her post was edited by the Ashley to make it readable. And that detail matters because it shows how these posts become news, only after someone cleans them up and frames them for a wider audience. The original emotion is still there, but it's filtered through media interpretation. And once that happens, June loses control of the narrative again, which probably frustrates her just as much as the public reaction does. Then there's Sugar Bear's alleged desire to return to the show. Even the idea of that is enough to irritate fans who feel like the family already exploited enough trauma for ratings. People remember Pumpkin talking about abuse. People remember June admitting Sugar Bear's behavior was harmful. And people remember how production allegedly brushed it aside. So when June claims he wants back on TV, fans don't see a redemption arc. They see someone chasing relevance. And when June says it will never happen, some fans cheer, while others roll their eyes and say the franchise has a history of doing the exact opposite of what it promises. That's why skepticism is baked into every reaction now. Let's talk about Pumpkin for a moment, because she's a key figure that often gets overlooked in headlines. Pumpkin stepping in and getting custody of Alana wasn't just a legal move. It was a role reversal that changed the family structure permanently. Younger sister becomes caretaker. Older sister becomes guardian. That kind of shift leaves scars, even when it's done out of love. Fans who defend Pumpkin often say she's the only consistent adult Alana has had. Fans who criticize June point to that custody change as proof that June failed when it mattered most. And when accusations about stolen money resurface, that anger comes rushing back. Because money isn't just money here. It represents childhood labor, lost trust, and years of being filmed before Alana was old enough to consent. And that brings us back to the Lifetime biopic and Alana speaking out to people. That interview changed the tone of the conversation. It wasn't Mama June telling her version. It wasn't a producer cutting scenes together. It was Alana, directly, explaining what she saw and felt when things started going wrong. The locked doors. The drug addiction. The house being sold. The earnings disappearing. Even though some money was eventually returned, the lack of apology is what stuck with fans. Because an apology would have acknowledged harm, not just fixed a financial problem. Without it, everything feels unfinished. And unfinished family trauma doesn't stay quiet. It leaks into every new rumor, every new headline, every new comment section war. Now, about the baby bump again, because it keeps pulling us back. One reason this rumor hit harder than others is timing. Alana is 19. She's in school. She's in a serious relationship. She's living away from her mother. To some fans that looks like stability. To others it looks like pressure. And when people feel invested they project. Some want a happy ending. Look how far she's come storyline. Others fear a repeat of cycles they've already watched play out. Dralin's reaction, whether it was real concern, confusion, or just an awkward moment caught on camera, became a symbol.